Going to be an overview of reading the nutrition facts label and get down to the basics. We're going to be using the FDA government website, and they have a wonderful tool here. It's an interactive nutrition facts label, so that's what I'm going to be using to help kind of go over the different components of the nutrition facts label. So the first thing you want to do is you want to start with the serving size, which is right up here. And you want to look here for both the serving size, which is the amount that people typically eat at one time, and then you want to look at the number of servings in the package or the container. So it looks like the serving size here is 1.5 cups or 208 grams, and there are 4 servings in this container, whatever this food item is. There are 4 servings inside the container. So you want to compare your portion size, the amount you actually are going to eat, to the serving size listed on the panel. The nutrition facts applies to the serving size, so if the serving size in this case is 1.5 cups and you eat 3 cups, then you're getting twice the calories, the fat, and all the other nutrients than what is listed on the label. So you always want to keep that in mind, and you would basically be doubling all of these values here, especially the calories here up top. The second thing you want to do is you want to compare the total calories to your individual needs. So in this case, this amount per serving is 240 calories. So you want to compare that. You want to find out how many calories are in that single serving and compare it to your total calorie allowance for the whole day. Step 3, you want to look at the percent daily values and let them be some sort of a guide for you. So you want to use them to help evaluate how the particular food fits into your daily meal plan. Percent daily values are for the entire day. They're not just for one meal or one snack. And the daily values are an average level of nutrients based on a general person who eats about 2,000 calories a day. So a food item with a 5% daily value of fat, like we have here, for example, provides about 5% of the total fat that that person who needs a 2,000 calorie a day diet should eat. So you may need more or less than 2,000 calories per day. This is just to give you an example. And that means that you may need more or less than, therefore, than 100% of the daily value that's listed on the package for some of these nutrients. So anything that's low is going to be considered 5% or less. And so you want to aim for low daily values in things like saturated fat and trans fat and cholesterol and sodium. I can't stress that enough. You want to look for a low daily percent value. And then anything that's high is considered 20% or more. So you want high daily values in things like vitamins and minerals down here, and your dietary fiber. So this label shows that this food is a good source of fiber. We have over 25% of our daily value in this food item. The next step you want to do is you want to choose low in your saturated fat, your added sugars, and your sodium. So eating less saturated fat and added sugars and sodium can help reduce your risk for chronic disease. So up here, our saturated fat and our trans fat, these are linked to an increased risk of heart disease. And high levels of sodium intake can add up to a very high blood pressure. So remember, you want to aim for low percent daily values for these items: cholesterol, sodium, fat. The next thing you want to do is you want to make sure you're getting enough vitamins, minerals, and dietary fiber. So you want to choose more foods that contain dietary fiber: potassium, vitamin D, calcium down here, and iron, to maintain good health, of course, and help reduce your risk of certain health problems such as osteoporosis as we get older, or anemia. So that's very important that you're aiming for high percentage daily values of these nutrients on other foods, 20% or more. Just try to remember that. And then lastly, you want to consider these additional nutrients here at the bottom. So It's obvious, we all know we're looking at the calories up here in big bold letters. We look for that. But it's also important to know about the additional nutrients on the nutrition facts label. For example, protein down here. This particular label, we have 11 grams of protein in this food item. So a percent daily value is actually missing. And that's because it's not required on the label. So you want to always remember to eat moderate portions of lean meats, fish, poultry, eggs, beans, nuts, seeds, any sort of soy products, and then carbohydrates over here in the middle. There are actually 3 types of carbohydrates. So you have your sugars, your starches, and your fiber. You want to eat whole grain breads and cereals and rice and pasta in addition to fruits and vegetables. And then lastly down here are sugars. So simple carbohydrates are sugars that occur naturally in certain foods such as fruit and milk. You have something called fructose, which is a naturally occurring sugar in fruit. And you have lactose, which again is naturally occurring in milk, which I'm sure that some of you have heard these terms. So that's one type, or your sugars can come from actual refined sources such as table sugar or corn syrup. So there's actually this line here of added sugars, and that's included on this new updated nutrition facts label. And the dietary guidelines actually for Americans recommend that any individuals consume no more than 10% of daily calories for added sugar. So you don't want to have a number that's higher than 10% here. So just a reminder, I want to show you this page over here on the ingredients list. Just a reminder, foods with more than one ingredient have to have an ingredients list on the label. And this example here, ingredients are listed in descending order by weight. So those in the largest amounts are actually listed first, and then the quantity decreases as you get further and further down on the list. So there would be trace amounts, ideally, of the last ingredients listed there. And this information is extremely helpful for people who have any sort of food sensitivities or allergies, anyone who needs to avoid certain ingredients due to religious reasons, or just people who prefer to follow a vegetarian eating style. So I do encourage you to visit this is again the U.S. Food and Drug Administration website, and go on to their interactive nutrition facts label and play around. And hopefully you can become an expert at reading the nutrition facts label.